Imagine discovering that the person you've been ignoring your entire life is the only one who truly sees you. Damien Ashford inherited everything at 28, except the ability to feel anything real. 57 floors above the city, glass walls framing a world he owns but never touches. He stands alone in his penthouse office. The skyline glitters like broken promises. His reflection stares back. Sharp suit, empty eyes, a man built from expectations instead of choices. He doesn't remember the last time someone looked at him and saw past the name, past the fortune, past the carefully constructed armor. Then she walks in. Not into his office. Into the service elevator at 5:47 a.m., carrying cleaning supplies and wearing shoes held together with duct tape. Her name is Elena. She doesn't know who he is. If you believe some people are destined to collide, like this video and subscribe, because this story will break you in the most beautiful way. Damien notices her by accident. He's leaving the gym on the 42nd floor, another sleepless night, another attempt to exhaust the numbness, when he sees her through the glass partition. She's humming, quietly, a melody he doesn't recognize but feels in his chest like an old memory. She's cleaning the executive lounge, alone, moving with a rhythm that suggests she's done this 1,000 times, in 1,000 empty rooms, for people who never say thank you. He stops. She doesn't see him. She's wiping down the marble counter, her movements careful, deliberate. There's a gentleness in the way she handles things, even objects that aren't hers, in a building that will never belong to her. Something about it unsettles him. He watches for 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Then he turns and leaves before she notices, but the melody stays. The second time, it's raining. Damien's driver is late. He's standing under the building's entrance awning at midnight, surrounded by silence and the smell of wet asphalt. His phone buzzes. Another investor, another deal, another person who wants something from him. He ignores it. Then he sees her. Eleanor's walking toward the subway entrance, no umbrella, her thin jacket soaked through. She's moving fast, head down, arms wrapped around herself against the cold. She slips, not dramatically, just a stumble on the wet pavement, a brief loss of balance. She catches herself, laughs softly, at herself, at the rain, at something Damien can't understand, and keeps walking. He doesn't know why he follows her with his eyes until she disappears down the subway stairs. He doesn't know why it matters that she laughed when she fell, but it does. The third time he speaks. It's 6:14 a.m. The building is still half asleep. Damien's returning from another board meeting that started at dawn, because sleep is something other people do, something weaker people need. The service elevator doors open. Elena's inside, pushing a cart loaded with supplies. She looks up, surprised, then immediately steps back to make room. "Sorry," she says softly. "I can take the next one." "It's fine." His voice comes out harsher than intended. She flinches slightly, nods, stays silent. The doors close. They stand on opposite sides of the elevator, 47 floors of silence ahead. Damien can hear her breathing, steady, calm. She's not looking at him, not with curiosity, not with recognition, not with the calculated interest he's used to. She's just existing, waiting for the ride to end. He glances at her reflection in the polished steel doors. There's a small cut on her hand, fresh. She's holding it carefully, trying not to let it bleed on anything. "You're hurt." She looks down at her hand, then quickly hides it. "It's nothing, just clumsy. You should clean it." "I will, after I finish the 51st floor." The elevator stops. 38th floor, her floor. She steps out, pushing the cart, doesn't look back. "Thank you," she says quietly, just before the doors close. For what? He didn't do anything, but the words sit in his chest for hours. That night, Damien can't stop thinking about the cut on her hand, about the way she smiled even though it must have hurt, about the fact that she thanked him for absolutely nothing. He pulls up the building's employee records, finds her file in 3 minutes. Elena Morales, night shift custodial, 26 years old, no emergency contact listed. He stares at the screen until his assistant knocks, reminding him about tomorrow's merger negotiation. He closes the file, but he doesn't forget her name. What Damien doesn't know yet, Elena notices everything. She noticed him weeks ago. The man who works later than anyone, who never smiles, who walks through the building like he's searching for something he can't name. She noticed the way he stopped outside the lounge that morning, the way he watched her for exactly 53 seconds before leaving. She noticed the way his voice cracked, just slightly, when he told her to clean her hand. And now she's terrified, because she's starting to care about a man who will never see her as anything more than invisible. But what happens when the invisible woman becomes the only person who makes him feel alive? Elena doesn't believe in fairy tales. She learned that at 14 when her mother got sick, and the medical bills swallowed their lives whole. She learned it again at 19 when her father's accident left her completely alone. And she learned it every single night for the past 7 years, scrubbing floors in buildings where people like her only exist in the margins. But something is shifting. Damien Ashford is everywhere now, not physically. He's still the ghost who haunts the upper floors, the shadow that moves through glass walls at impossible hours. But she feels his presence like a change in air pressure, subtle, undeniable, disorienting. He started leaving his office door open, just barely, just enough. Elena notices because she notices everything. It's a survival skill, the ability to read a room before entering it, to sense mood shifts, to become smaller when necessary. But this feels different. She's cleaning the executive hallway at 2:18 a.m. when she sees him through the crack in his door. He's standing at the window, one hand pressed against the glass, his reflection fractured by city lights. He looks unbearably lonely. The thought arrives without permission, and she hates herself for it. She has no right to feel sorry for a man who owns half the skyline. No right to wonder what kind of pain lives behind that carefully blank expression. She moves quietly past his door. "You're always here." His voice stops her cold. Elena turns slowly. He's still facing the window, hasn't moved, but somehow he knew she was there. Yes, sir. Night shift. Damien. Excuse me? My name. He finally turns. His eyes find hers across the dim hallway. You don't have to call me sir. The distance between them feels immense, also non-existent. Okay, she whispers. He takes one step toward the doorway, stops, like he's forgotten how to move closer to another human being. Your hand, he says. Did you clean it? She looks down at the bandage she wrapped herself. Yes. Good. Silence stretches. She should leave. She should say goodnight and disappear back into the safe invisibility of her work. But something in his posture, the way he's standing there like a man on the edge of asking a question he's terrified to hear answered, keeps her frozen. Do you ever sleep? The question escapes before she can stop it. His mouth curves, not quite a smile, something sadder. Do you? Touché. And there it is, the smallest crack in both their walls, a moment of shared understanding that neither expected. Elena breaks first. I should finish. Elena. Her name in his voice does something dangerous to her heartbeat. Be careful with those cleaning solutions. Some of them are caustic. It's such a strange thing to say, so specific, so concerned. I will, she manages. Good night, Damien. She walks away before he can see her hands shaking. The next night, there's a first aid kit on her cleaning cart. Medical grade, expensive, with a small note in precise handwriting. For emergencies. D. Elena stares at it for 3 full minutes. Nobody has given her anything in so long she's forgotten what it feels like to be seen. She tucks the note into her pocket and doesn't throw it away. They fall into a pattern. Not intentionally, not with any acknowledgement of what's happening. But every night around 2 a.m. Damien's door is open, and every night Elena finds a reason to walk past it. Sometimes they talk, brief exchanges, weather, the building's terrible coffee, a book she mentioned once that he somehow remembers. Sometimes they just exist in each other's orbit, him at his desk, her in the hallway, connected by nothing but proximity and the strange comfort of shared insomnia. One night, Eleanor finds him asleep at his desk. His head rests on crossed arms, dark hair falling across his forehead. He looks younger like this, vulnerable, human. She should leave. She absolutely should leave. Instead, she carefully drapes her jacket over his shoulders. It's threadbare and probably smells like cleaning chemicals, but it's all she has. She's halfway down the hall when she hears his voice, rough with sleep. "Elena." She stops, doesn't turn around. "Thank you." Her throat tightens. "It's nothing." It's not. She keeps walking before the tears can fall. Behind her, Damien sits up slowly, pulling her jacket closer. It smells like lavender and something indefinably her. He doesn't take it off for an hour. The shift happens on a Thursday. Damien's in a board meeting when his CFO makes a casual comment. "We're cutting the night cleaning stuff by 40%, transitioning to automated systems, more cost-effective." Every head nods, except Damien's. "Which positions?" His voice cuts through the room like ice. "Does it matter? They're interchangeable." "Which positions?" The CFO pulls up a list, scrolls through names, stops on one. Elena Morales. Termination effective in 2 weeks. Something cracks open in Damien's chest. "No." "Sir? Halt the cuts, all of them. We'll find efficiency elsewhere." "But the projected savings, I don't care." He stands, gathering his materials with hands that want to shake. Meeting adjourned. He walks out before anyone can see his face. That night, Eleanor notices immediately that something's wrong. Damien's in his office, but the lights are off. He's sitting in the dark, elbows on his knees, head in his hands. She should leave. She doesn't. "Damien?" He looks up. Even in the darkness, she can see the fracture lines. "I almost lost you today." The words hang in the air between them, heavy with implications neither is ready to name. "What?" "The board wanted to cut your position. I stopped it. But I can't." He stops, starts again. "I can't protect you from everything, Elena. And I hate that I can't." She steps into his office, closes the door softly behind her. "Why do you care?" The question that changes everything. Damien looks at her like she's asked him to explain gravity. "Why do I care?" He stands slowly, and the movement carries years of exhaustion. "Because you're the only person in this entire building who doesn't want something from me." Eleanor's breath catches. "You don't know what I want." "Don't I?" He takes one step closer. The city lights behind him cast his face in shadow. "You want to survive, to make rent, to sleep without worrying about tomorrow. Those are honest wants, Eleanor. Human ones. And everyone else? Everyone else wants leverage, access, association. They look at me and see a transaction waiting to happen." His voice drops to something raw. "You look at me and see a man who works too late and drinks terrible coffee." She should deny it, should maintain the professional distance that keeps people like her safe. Instead, "You do drink terrible coffee." The sound he makes is half laugh, half exhale. Relief and surprise tangled together. "See? That. Right there." He gestures vaguely between them. "When was the last time someone was honest with me about something as simple as coffee?" Eleanor sets down her cleaning supplies, a decision made in the space between heartbeats. "When was the last time someone was honest with you about anything?" The question lands like a blow. Damien turns back to the window. His reflection wavers in the glass, a ghost of a man trapped between empire and emptiness. "I was 8 years old," he says finally. "My father told me that feelings were liabilities, that every person in my life would either serve a purpose or become an obstacle." His hand presses against the glass. He was right about almost everything. Almost? He never warned me that the loneliest thing in the world is being surrounded by people who only love what you represent. Elena's chest tightens. She recognizes that particular species of alone, the kind that crowds can't cure, the kind that money makes worse. "I know what that feels like," she whispers. He turns. "Do you?" "Different packaging, same isolation." She meets his eyes. "People look through me, not at me. I'm hands that clean, a body that works. I exist in utility, not humanity." "That's not how I see you." "I know." The admission costs her something. That's what scares me. The air between them hums with everything they're not saying. Damien crosses the space slowly, stops 3 feet away, close enough to matter, far enough to offer escape. "What scares you, Elena?" "That I'm starting to need this, these conversations, this..." She searches for words that won't destroy them both. "This feeling that someone actually sees me. And if I told you I need it too." Her pulse stumbles. "Then we'd both be in trouble." "Maybe I want trouble." His voice drops to gravel. "Maybe I've been careful my entire life, and it's left me empty." "Damien, say my name again." "It's not a command, it's a plea. We can't." But even as she says it, she's not moving away. "Why?" "Because you're Damien Ashford, and I'm the woman who empties your trash." "That's not who you are. It's what the world sees." "I don't care what the world sees." He takes one more step. Now there's only breath between them. "I care what's true." Elena's hands tremble. "And what's true?" "That I've been half alive for 10 years, that I stopped believing people could be real. And then you walked into an elevator with a cut on your hand and thanked me for nothing." His voice cracks. "And suddenly I remembered what it feels like to want to know someone." Tears blur her vision. "This can't work." "I know. Your world would destroy us." "I know. So why are we still standing here?" Damien lifts his hand slowly, gives her every opportunity to step back. When she doesn't, his fingers brush her cheek with devastating gentleness. "Because maybe some things are worth the destruction." They don't kiss. Not yet. Not when everything feels this fragile. Instead, they stand in the dark of his office while the city breathes around them, and Elena lets herself be seen in a way that terrifies her. "Tell me something real," Damien whispers. "Something you've never told anyone." She thinks about deflecting, about protecting herself the way she always has. Then, "I'm afraid I'll die without mattering. That I'll disappear and the world will just continue. Like I was never here at all." His thumb traces her jawline. "You matter." "To who?" "To me." 2 words. A confession and a promise and a grenade rolled into one. Elena closes her eyes. "You don't know me." "Then let me." He leans his forehead against hers. "Let me know you, Elena. The real you. Not the version you show the world." "Why?" "Because I think you might be the only person who could understand the real me." And there it is, and the truth beneath the truth. 2 people drowning in different oceans, recognizing each other across the dark. They talk until dawn. Not about facts, not about histories. About the things that shape souls, fears and dreams, and the moments that break you into newer versions of yourself. Damien tells her about the impossible weight of inherited legacy, about being 5 years old and learning that affection was currency, not comfort. Elena tells him about her mother's final months, about holding her hand through the pain and promising to survive, even when survival felt like punishment. They sit on his office floor, 57 stories above a world that would never understand them, and build something fragile between their words. When the sun starts rising, Elena stands reluctantly. I should go. I know. But he catches her hand. Gentle. Asking, not taking. Elena? Yeah? Tomorrow night. Same time. It's not a question, but it's also not a demand. She squeezes his fingers once. Okay. She's at the door when his voice stops her. You matter to me. I need you to know that. Elena doesn't turn around. If she does, she'll break. You matter to me too, she whispers. That's the problem. She doesn't see the way Damien watches her leave, doesn't see him pick up her jacket, still draped over his chair, and hold it like a lifeline. Doesn't see the first real smile he's worn in a decade. But she feels it. Miles away, standing in her tiny apartment as morning light cuts through broken blinds, Eleanor touches her cheek where his fingers traced skin, and for the first time in years, she lets herself hope. Which is exactly when everything starts to fall apart. The unraveling begins with a photograph. Damien's father, Robert Ashford, patriarch of the empire, architect of coldness, arrives unannounced at the office 3 days later. He moves through the building like a storm system, all polished menace and calculated disapproval. He's been watching. The security feeds tell stories his son thought were secret. Late nights, open doors, a cleaning woman who stays too long in the executive hallway, a son who's forgotten that emotions are expensive mistakes. Robert doesn't knock. He enters Damien's office at noon with the entitlement of a man who built kingdoms by crushing anything soft. The photograph lands on the desk between them. Grainy security footage, time-stamped. Damien and Elena standing too close in his darkened office, her hand in his, their foreheads touching like prayer. Robert's voice is surgical, precise, devastating. Every word a blade, every sentence a reminder that love is weakness, that deviation from the plan is betrayal, that the Ashford name doesn't bend for anyone, especially not for a janitor with nothing to offer but working-class dreams. Damien sits frozen, watching his father dissect the most honest thing he's felt in years. The ultimatum arrives wrapped in paternal concern. End it immediately, completely, or watch Elena lose everything, her job, her references, her ability to work anywhere in the city. Robert's network is vast, his memory longer. 1 week, 7 days to prove he remembers who he is. The door closes. The photograph remains. Damien stares at the image until it blurs. Two people caught in a moment of dangerous honesty. Two people who forgot that the world doesn't forgive these kinds of crossings. His hands shake as he slides the photo into his desk drawer. He doesn't throw it away, but he doesn't look at it again either. Elena notices the change immediately. Damien's door stays closed now. The hallway that felt alive with possibility 3 nights ago has returned to sterile silence. She walks past his office at the usual time and there's nothing. No light beneath the door, no sense of invitation, no warmth bleeding into the corridor. Just absence. She tells herself it's fine, that whatever briefly existed between them was always temporary, that she knew better than to hope. But her chest aches anyway. Days pass like held breath. Elena cleans with mechanical efficiency, each motion automated, each hour another exercise in not feeling. She scrubs floors that don't need scrubbing, polishes glass that's already perfect, anything to avoid the empty space where connection used to live. On the 4th night, she sees him. Just a glimpse through the conference room windows. Damien surrounded by men in expensive suits, his face carved from stone, his eyes carefully blank. He's playing the role again. The heir, the executive, the man built from duty instead of desire. He looks through her like she's invisible. Elena understands. Of course she understands. This was always the inevitable conclusion. She was foolish to imagine otherwise, but understanding doesn't stop the breaking. She finishes her shift in silence, rides the subway home with tears she won't let fall, climbs the stairs to her apartment and sits in the dark. still wearing her jacket that smells like industrial cleaner and shattered possibility. Her phone stays silent. No explanation, no apology, just the clean cut of erasure. Maybe that's kinder. What Elena doesn't know. Damien is destroying himself trying to stay away. Every closed door is an act of violence against his own heart. Every ignored moment costs him pieces of sanity he can't afford to lose. He sits in meetings and hears nothing, reviews contracts and sees only her face, stands at his window and remembers the weight of her jacket over his shoulders. His father calls daily, checking, ensuring, reminding him that protection sometimes looks like cruelty. Damien tells himself he's saving her. That distance is mercy, that she'll be safer in a world where he doesn't exist. But late at night, when the building empties and silence becomes suffocating, he pulls out that photograph, studies the way they stood together, traces the outline of her face with fingers that remember the softness of her skin. He's never hated himself more. The breaking point comes on day 6. Damien's assistant mentions casually that the night cleaning staff schedules are changing. Elena's being transferred to a different building, across the city, starting next week. His father's work, a final cleansing. Remove the temptation, restore order. Something in Damien goes cold, then molten. He thinks about duty, about legacy, about spending the rest of his life as a hollow monument to someone else's vision of success. He thinks about Elena's words, "I'm afraid I'll die without mattering." He thinks about his own reflection in endless windows, a ghost who owns everything and feels nothing. The decision crystallizes. Some rules deserve to be broken. Some expectations aren't worth meeting. Some connections matter more than empires. That night, Damien leaves his office at 2 a.m., walks to the supply closet on the 47th floor, where Elena keeps her cart. She's there, organizing bottles with the focused intensity of someone trying not to think. She looks up, sees him. Her expression cycles through surprise, pain, anger, resignation. She doesn't speak, just waits. Damien's prepared speeches dissolve. Every careful word turns to ash under the weight of her gaze. What emerges is only truth, his voice barely above whisper. The confession of a man who's been pretending to be stronger than he is. The admission that he tried to walk away and couldn't. That his father threatened her and he chose cowardice and regretted every second. That she deserves better than his broken pieces, but he's selfish enough to want her anyway. That he's terrified, that he's never felt this way, that she's ruined him for the half-life he was living. Elena listens without moving. Tears track silently down her face, catching fluorescent light. When he finally stops, breathless and raw, she just looks at him. Then she reaches into her pocket, pulls out the small note he wrote weeks ago, for emergencies. Her voice steady despite the crying. Words that cut and heal simultaneously. She tells him she's not a rebellion, not a phase, not some working-class fantasy he gets to explore and abandon. That if he walks away again, there won't be a third chance. That she's worth more than secret moments in empty hallways. That she's terrified too, but tired of being invisible. That if he's serious, if he's really willing to face whatever comes, she'll be brave with him. But only if he's sure. Damien closes the distance between them. No hesitation now, no careful space. His hands frame her face with devastating gentleness. His forehead rests against hers. His breath shakes. One word, fierce and certain and irreversible. Yes. What neither of them sees, Robert Ashford, watching from security feeds one floor above, already calculating his next move. The war begins quietly. Robert Ashford doesn't raise his voice. Men with real power never do. Instead, he dismantles with precision. A phone call here, a strategic leak there. The slow suffocation of opportunity disguised as coincidence. Elena's hours get cut first, not eliminated. Just reduced enough to hurt. 30 hours becomes 20, 20 becomes 15. The message is clear: comply or starve. She doesn't tell Damien immediately. Pride is a complicated thing when you've spent your life proving you don't need saving. She picks up a second job waitressing at a diner near her apartment, works until her feet bleed, sleeps in 3-hour increments. Damien notices anyway. The exhaustion lives in her eyes now, the way she moves slower through hallways, how her smile takes effort instead of arriving naturally. He sees the careful way she's rationing herself, energy, hope, endurance, like someone preparing for siege. When he finally corners her in the supply room, his voice carries barely controlled fury. She stops him with one look, explains without explaining, tells him she knew the cost and accepted it, that his father's cruelty doesn't surprise her because men like Robert have been underestimating women like her forever, that she's stronger than she looks. Damien's jaw clenches. He wants to fight, to use his name and money and influence to obliterate anyone who touches her. But Eleanor's hand on his chest stops the spiral. Her words land gentle but firm. She doesn't need a white knight. Doesn't want him to fight battles that will only prove his father right, that she's a distraction, a weakness, a liability. What she needs is a partner, someone who stands beside her instead of in front of her. The distinction matters. They adapt. Damien starts working from home 3 days a week, not hiding exactly, but creating distance from his father's surveillance. He brings Elena coffee at the diner during her breaks, sits in corner booths and helps her study for the college courses she's secretly taking online, a dream deferred but never abandoned. She's brilliant, quick-minded and curious, the kind of intelligence that sharpened itself on necessity instead of privilege. Watching her work through economics problems while balancing plates and dodging handsy customers does something to Damien's understanding of strength. He thought he knew what resilience looked like. He was wrong. This, Elena functioning on 4 hours of sleep, maintaining grace under financial strangulation, refusing to let circumstances define her, this is warrior-level endurance. He falls harder every day. But Robert is patient, and patient men are dangerous. The attack comes through reputation. Suddenly, Elena's name appears in whispered conversations, anonymous posts on community boards, suggestions that she's sleeping her way into opportunities, that she's manipulating a naive heir, that she's calculating and predatory despite her humble performance. The cruelty is surgical, designed to isolate, to make her question whether being with Damien is worth the character assassination. She reads the posts in silence, each accusation another small death. The diner customers start looking at her differently, judging, assuming. One regular asks loudly if she's still taking orders or just millionaires now. Laughter follows, cruel and casual. Eleanor serves his coffee with steady hands, doesn't let them see her break. But that night in Damien's apartment, a penthouse she still feels foreign inside, she finally shatters, not loudly, not dramatically, just quiet tears and the admission that maybe his father is right, that maybe she's not strong enough for this, that maybe loving each other isn't enough against the machinery of his world. Damien holds her through it, says nothing, because sometimes presence matters more than promises. When she finally stops crying, he shows her something, a folder, thick with documentation, evidence he's been gathering for weeks, his father's business dealings, the ethical lines crossed, the people crushed, the corruption sanitized by expensive lawyers. Damien's voice is steady, calm, absolutely certain. He tells her he's been preparing to walk away from the empire entirely, to take what's legally his and build something different, something clean. That he'd rather be poor and honest than wealthy and complicit, that she didn't make him weak. She made him brave enough to choose differently. Elena stares at the documents, at the evidence of his father's carefully hidden sins, at proof that could destroy the Ashford legacy forever. Her voice emerges small, asking if he's sure, if he understands what he's sacrificing, if he'll resent her when the empire crumbles. Damien's answer is simple, devastating in its clarity. He kneels before her, takes her hands, looks at her with eyes that have finally learned how to see past walls. The empire was never his, it was always his father's prison, and he spent 30 years confusing captivity with purpose. But her? Elena represents the first real choice he's ever made, the first thing he's wanted that wasn't pre-selected by legacy and expectation. So yes, he's sure. His hands tighten on hers, voice dropping to something raw and sacred. He tells her he loves her. Not the idea of rebellion, not the symbol of freedom. Her, Elena, the woman who laughed when she fell in the rain, who gives away warmth she can barely afford, who sees him as human instead of monument. He loves her, and he's done pretending that doesn't matter more than everything else. Elena doesn't answer immediately. She looks at this man kneeling before her, this heir choosing poverty, this prince burning his own kingdom. She thinks about the girl she was at 14, at 19, at 26. How that girl learned to expect nothing, to want nothing, to survive on scraps of recognition. She thinks about the woman she's becoming, the one who dares to believe she deserves more than invisibility. Her hands cup his face, thumbs brushing cheekbones, memorizing the architecture of someone who chose her over empires. When she finally speaks, her voice carries years of practiced strength and newfound vulnerability tangled together. 3 words: simple, true, terrifying. She loves him too. They hold each other in the dark. 2 people who were never supposed to meet, 2 worlds that were never supposed to collide. Tomorrow, Damien will confront his father. Will lay the evidence bare. Will choose exile over compliance. Tomorrow, Eleanor will face whatever consequences come with loving someone the world says she can't have. But tonight, they just breathe together, building courage from proximity, finding strength in the spaces between heartbeats. Outside, the city glitters indifferently. Inside, 2 people prepare for war, and neither knows yet that the biggest battle isn't with Robert Ashford. It's with themselves. The confrontation happens at dawn. Damien enters his father's private office without knocking, a small rebellion that speaks volumes. Robert sits behind mahogany and legacy, reading morning reports like they're scripture. He doesn't look up, doesn't need to. He's been expecting this. The folder lands on the desk with finality. Robert opens it slowly, scans the documents with the detached interest of a man reviewing weather reports. Tax evasion, bribery, contracts secured through intimidation. 20 years of carefully buried sins now resurrected in organized clarity. His expression never changes. When he finally speaks, his voice carries the temperature of winter. He congratulates Damien on the detective work, acknowledges the thoroughness, then explains with devastating patience why none of it matters. Power protects itself, always has. These documents will disappear into legal machinery that transforms evidence into inconvenience. Lawyers will make it vanish. Judges will look away. The system was built by men like Robert to serve men like Robert. But more than that, does Damien really want to become the son who destroyed his family's name, who rendered his mother's social standing worthless, who made his younger sister unemployable by association? Because that's what this heroic gesture will accomplish, not justice, just collateral damage to people who never asked for this war. The words land like acid, calculated, precise, designed to corrode certainty. Robert leans back, offers an alternative, a compromise dressed as mercy. Walk away from the girl, marry appropriately, take over the company as planned, and in exchange, Elena gets a trust fund, anonymous, generous, enough to finish school, start a business, live comfortably without ever working a service job again. She gets everything she needs, just not Damien. It's the perfect trap. Cruelty disguised as kindness, control masquerading as care. Damien stands there, feeling the architecture of his convictions crack under pragmatic weight. His father isn't wrong about the collateral damage. about how exposing this will hurt people who don't deserve it, but giving up Elena feels like excising his own heart. Robert watches his son's internal collapse with something almost like sympathy, then delivers the final strike. He asks Damien to consider what loving him will cost Elena. Not just now, but always. She'll spend her life defending her legitimacy, proving she's not a gold digger, fighting whispers and judgment, living under scrutiny that will dissect every word, every gesture, every human imperfection. Is that really love? Sentencing her to a lifetime of being the poor girl who trapped a billionaire? Or is love sometimes letting go? Damien leaves without answering. He drives aimlessly, watches the city wake up around him, sees people heading to jobs that don't require them to choose between integrity and survival, between love and family, between who they are and who they're supposed to be. His phone fills with messages from Elena, asking if he's okay, if the confrontation happened, if he needs her. He doesn't respond, not because he doesn't want to, because he doesn't know what to say. By noon, Damien finds himself at the diner where Elena works her second shift. He sits in the back corner, watches her navigate tables with practiced efficiency. She moves through her section like water, fluid, adaptive, essential. A businessman in a tailored suit makes a comment Damien doesn't hear but understands from context. Something dismissive, something reducing. Elena's smile never falters. She refills his coffee with grace that shouldn't be possible under that kind of casual disrespect. Damien watches her absorb cruelty and transform it into professionalism, sees her collect a $1 tip on a $40 check without flinching, observes the way she touches her lower back like it aches but keeps moving anyway. This is her world, and his father wants him to believe he'd be saving her by leaving. But watching Elena work, really seeing her, Damien understands something his father never could. She's not weak, not fragile, not someone who needs protection from hardship. She needs partnership, recognition, someone who doesn't try to save her from her own strength. The realization settles in his chest like foundation. Elena sees him during her break. She slides into the booth across from him. Doesn't ask why he's here or why he looks devastated. Just sits, exists beside him, offers proximity instead of pressure. Damien tells her everything, the confrontation, the evidence that means nothing, the compromise that feels like death. His father's question about what love costs versus what it gives. Elena listens without interrupting, her hands wrapped around coffee she's not drinking, her eyes steady on his face. When he finishes, she doesn't offer easy answers, doesn't tell him what to choose, just sits with the complexity of impossible situations. Finally, she speaks, her voice quiet but unshakable. She tells him she's thought about this too, about what being with him means, the scrutiny, the judgment, the lifetime of proving herself to people who've already decided she's not enough. She's terrified. She won't lie about that. But she's been terrified before, when her mother died, when her father's accident left her completely alone. When she faced homelessness at 22, terror is familiar territory. What she hasn't been is loved, really loved, by someone who sees her completely and chooses her anyway. So yes, his father is right that this will be hard, that she'll face cruelty and doubt, that their love will be tested in ways that break other people, but she survived worse with less reason. And maybe that's the point. Maybe love isn't about avoiding pain. Maybe it's about deciding what pain is worth enduring. Her hand finds his across the table, fingers interlacing like proof. She tells him she's not asking him to destroy his family, not asking him to burn empires or play hero. She's just asking him to choose honestly. If he wants to stay with her despite everything, she's in completely. No resentment, no regret. But if he leaves, it has to be his choice, made clearly. Not because his father manipulated him. Not because he's trying to protect her from herself, because she's an adult. And she gets to decide what battles she's willing to fight. Elena stands. Her shift is ending. She needs to get to her night job at the building. Before she leaves, she leans down, kisses his forehead with devastating tenderness, whispers something that sounds like both prayer and permission. Then she's gone, and Damien sits alone with the weight of choosing who he wants to be. That night, Damien doesn't go to the office. He goes to his mother's house, a woman he's barely spoken to in years, a woman who married duty and spent 40 years wondering what love might have felt like. They talk until sunrise, about choices and consequences, about living with regret versus living with risk. His mother tells him something he's never heard before, that she loved someone once, before Robert, someone inappropriate, someone her family forbade. She chose duty and spent 4 decades wondering. Her eyes meet her son's, tired, honest, finally free enough to tell truth. She tells him not to be her, not to choose safety over substance, that empires crumble, money disappears, names fade, but love, real love, that's the only thing that actually survives. Damien drives to Elena's apartment as dawn breaks. He has his answer. Elena hears the knock at 6:47 a.m. She's not expecting anyone. Her apartment building doesn't get visitors this early, just the sound of pipes groaning and neighbors leaving for shifts that start before sunrise. She opens the door. Damien stands there, still wearing yesterday's clothes, eyes red-rimmed from sleeplessness and decision. He doesn't speak immediately, just looks at her like he's memorizing something he's afraid to lose. Then he steps inside, closes the door, takes her hands. What follows isn't a speech, it's a confession. He tells her he talked to his mother, learned things about regret that can't be unlearned, understood finally that safety is just another word for slow death. He's choosing her. Not dramatically, not as rebellion, just as truth. He's leaving the company, not to punish his father, not to prove anything, simply because he can't build a life on foundations that require her erasure. He has money of his own, investments his father can't touch, enough to start something smaller, cleaner, real. It won't be easy. His family will fracture, society will judge. They'll face years of people questioning her motives and his sanity. But he's done living for an audience that doesn't care if he's happy. Elena listens, tears streaming, heart breaking and mending simultaneously. When he finishes, she doesn't say yes immediately, doesn't throw herself into his arms like movie endings. Instead, she tells him about the college acceptance letter she received yesterday. Full scholarship, social work degree, starting in 3 months. She's been afraid to mention it, afraid it would complicate things, afraid he'd feel obligated to stay or guilty about leaving. But if they're doing this, really doing this, they need full honesty. She's going back to school, building her own future. She won't be the woman who gave up dreams to be someone's choice. Damien's face breaks into something luminous, relief and pride tangled together. He tells her that's exactly what he needs to hear, that he doesn't want to save her. He wants to build beside her. 2 people, equal footing, separate strengths. Elena finally smiles, real and unguarded. Then she kisses him, not desperate, not dramatic, just certain. 3 months later, they're standing in a small apartment neither of them owns. It's nothing like Damien's penthouse. The heating is inconsistent, the neighbors are loud. The view is a brick wall instead of skyline, it's perfect. Elena's textbooks cover the kitchen table. Damien's laptop sits beside them. He's consulting now, helping ethical startups instead of building empires. They eat dinner on mismatched plates, laugh about burned pasta, fall asleep tangled together on a couch that's seen better decades. His father hasn't spoken to him in 93 days. His sister called once, angry, then called again 2 weeks later, quieter, asking if he's happy. He told her yes, and meant it. Elena works part-time at a community center now, comes home exhausted but fulfilled, tells Damien stories about the families she's helping, the systems she's learning to navigate. He watches her come alive in ways she never could while invisible. Some nights are hard. Money is tighter. Stress is real. They fight about dishes and schedules and the weight of choosing each other over easier paths. But they also laugh more, touch more, exist more fully than either did in their previous lives. 1 year later, Damien proposes, not with a ring that costs 6 months' salary, with his grandmother's band, simple gold, worn smooth by decades of wear. He asks her in their kitchen. No audience, no performance, just them and morning coffee and the life they've built from honest choices. Eleanor says yes, then adds a condition. Small wedding, just people who actually know them, no society pages, no photographers, no performance of legitimacy, just truth witnessed by people who matter. Damien agrees immediately, kisses her, whispers that she's the best decision he's ever made. The wedding happens in a community garden Elena helped restore. 40 people, folding chairs, homemade food. His sister stands beside him. Elena's co-workers fill her side. His mother attends, sits in the back, cries quietly, hugs Elena afterward, and whispers something about bravery. His father doesn't come, sends nothing. The absence is noted, then released. Some families heal, some don't. Damien's learning to live with fractured instead of perfect. 5 years pass. Damien's consulting firm grows slowly, ethically. He works with organizations that prioritize people over profit. Makes less money, sleeps better. Eleanor finishes her degree, then her master's. Opens a non-profit helping families navigate systems designed to break them. Changes lives daily. They buy a small house, adopt a rescue dog, plant a garden, live loudly and ordinarily and beautifully. Some nights Damien still thinks about the empire he walked away from, the legacy he refused, the father who chose pride over reconciliation. But then Elena laughs at something ridiculous, or touches his hand while reading, or falls asleep against his shoulder, and he remembers he didn't lose anything real. He finally found it. The story ends where it began. Late night, city lights, 2 people who were never supposed to meet. But this time, Damien's not alone in a tower. He's home, with Elena, with the life they chose despite everything. She's grading papers, he's reviewing proposals. The dog snores between them. It's ordinary, it's imperfect, it's theirs. Elena looks up, catches him watching, smiles that smile that still undoes him. She asks what he's thinking. Damien tells the truth, that he's grateful, that she saved him, not from his father or empire or loneliness, from becoming a man who had everything and felt nothing. Elena sets down her pen, crosses to him, sits in his lap like she belongs there. Because she does. She tells him he saved her too, from invisibility, from believing she didn't deserve to be seen. They hold each other. 2 people who chose love over easy, who built something real from broken pieces. Outside, the world continues, indifferent and immense. Inside, 2 people prove that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is choose each other, and mean it, every single day. If this story moved you, subscribe for more emotional stories that will stay with you long after they end. Rate this from 0 to 10 in the comments, because love like this deserves to be witnessed.